Good afternoon. My name is Dale Rodriguez, and this is FM. And with me today, I've got Libby Walklett. Hey, Libby, how's it going?
Hello, hi Dale. Yeah, good, thank you. Oh, do I need to call you FM rather than Dale?
No, you can call me my name. That's the show is called FM. You know who I am. It's fine. It's all good. Thank you for doing this, by the way. Thank you for joining me. You have been in the accounting / bookkeeping / finance sector a while, and some may consider you a bit of a guru. Correct?
First part correct. I'm not sure I would consider myself a guru. Yeah, you're right. Some people do. I don't.
I mean, I think you're a bit of a guru, and the reason why I think this is it's one thing to be able to do what you do, bookkeeping, accounts, and finance stuff, but you also teach it, correct?
Not teaching it anymore, but I did teach it for 2 years at a local college, and I'm now mentoring a T-level student. So yeah, kind of teaching him some of this stuff, but actually he's getting a really broad selection of business knowledge and what it actually feels like to run your own business.
That's good. That's awesome. Is he enjoying it?
You'd have to ask him. I think, if I'm really honest, I would say, yeah, he's really enjoying it because he's seeing the nitty gritty. So, yeah, he does see a lot of, this is what goes on in the background. And we talk about, it's all I talk about. So I've told him about you. He watches, I direct him to.
Wait. What did you tell him about me?
It's all good, don't worry.
So many rumors that could be shared. Oh, phew.
So we sit and we have a chat about, we might mention Lucy Cohen, might mention Rachel Harris, Fran Trigarico. So, and we talk about the six-figure bookkeepers a lot. So he knows what's going on in the accounting community because we talk about it a lot. We talk about the pain of running your own business. He sat open-mouthed on Monday as I tried to navigate HMRC and could not believe how difficult
and how painful that is.
Oh my God! Don't even ask.
I think that is I think that's a rite of passage. Anyone who's worked in bookkeeping or accounting has heard the HMRC hold music for more than 10 minutes. Like, it's a rite of passage. Like, what it is.
Yeah. I did say to him, "Are you ready for the music?" And I did the fifth call I'd made since last week. I found someone at HMRC, and I knew I was in safe hands. You could just tell from the way he spoke. He was confident in what he was talking about, and he managed to get me back into my agent account, at which point I said, "Please give me your address. I'm coming to propose to you." I was happy. I really was. And the one time you want to give feedback to them and it's good, I didn't get a feedback form afterwards, which was a shame because I spend quite a lot of time doing their feedback forms and telling them how rubbish their service is. So yeah, and going back to the question, yeah, I would think he's probably really enjoying it, and it's probably quite different to what he was expecting.
Okay, thank you. Going back a step,
yes.
What initially got you into your role / vocation? Like, how did you get into finance, bookkeeping, that kind of stuff?
Initially, it's kind of. I think it's quite a similar route to the one that lots of people have, which is they kind of fall into it by accident. So I'd spent 6 years working in hospitality, and I ended up as deputy manager of a well-known brand of restaurant and hotel that are linked together. The restaurant no longer being available. I won't mention who it is. And after 6 years of that, working double shifts, back-to-backs, I was exhausted. I had no social life, and I decided to leave and got an office job paying a very small amount of money. I think at that point I was doing photocopying, filing, and faxing, the 3 Fs.
Okay.
Yep. I think we were using Pegasus 123. I'm that old. So it
Retro.
was, yep. I did a little customer service qualification at the same time, just for a bit of fun, something to do. And then my next job, I took on more sales ledger, started on credit control, went to another company where I was doing more purchase ledger, foreign expenses, all sorts. And actually, as I went on to each role, I just got more and more involved in it and saw different parts of that industry. And then eventually became finance manager and was covering maternity leave twice. And when I started in that job, I had 3 months to learn everything. So all of the payroll, all of the management accounts. I ended up doing 93 sets of payroll, 93 sets of management accounts, year end, meeting with the auditors, everything, audit, internal audit.
You just figured it out on the job, or did you get training?
3 months until the maternity leave started. So I had a 3-month period from sort of October to the end of December to learn everything, and I threw myself into that job like nobody's business. I did at that point, I didn't know how to do depreciation, maintain the fixed asset register, prepayments and accruals. I hadn't done really any payroll till then. It was baptism by fire, but yeah, threw myself into it and really loved it. And I stayed with them for nearly 7 years and only had left when I moved from Essex to Wiltshire.
Okay. 2 questions.
Yes.
And they're somewhat technical, and hopefully they're not mean, but for the uninitiated, what is depreciation? And again, what is an accrual? Can you dumb it down?
Put me on the spot. I mean, this is proper technical stuff. So depreciation is basically spreading out the life of your asset. So if you bought a car, instead of putting it all into the accounts in 1 year, that car's going to last you, you might want to depreciate it over 3 or 4 years. So you're spreading that cost out over a number of years, because otherwise the accounts are going to look a bit odd. So if you say this car's cost you, let's say £20,000 in 1 year, your accounts are going to look really nasty that year. And then there's no cost in there for the next, say, 3 years until you get rid of it. So by depreciating something, you're spreading it over a number of years. What was the other one? Accruals. So you might get to the end of the month and not have an invoice for something that you've that cost you money. So quite often it would be something like gas or electricity. So you've got your month, and then the invoice comes after that month, but you know that cost is associated to that month. And to spread it out, make everything look right in terms of your expenditure for that month, then you're going to accrue what that bill is. So normally I would give it a week or so, wait till the bill comes in and accrue for it. So I'm going to put that cost into that month. If I don't have the invoice, then what I would do is take the invoice from the month before and then base it on that roughly. Exciting, isn't it?
Thank you for explaining. No, it's important stuff to know, because when I first joined the sector, there were lots of terms I'd never heard before, and I think people want to understand what it means when they're talking to their bookkeeper or accountant, because sometimes it can be a bit confusing. So thank you for
I think also in terms of trying to explain stuff to clients, I do like a face-to-face meeting. I do try to make it as simple as possible. And some of that is in their body language or in their face. You can see if they haven't quite understood it. And I never, ever, ever want anyone to feel embarrassed to ask again. I speak to people that say, well, this is a really stupid question. No, it's not. If you don't know the answer, how is it a stupid question? I don't care if somebody asks me 10 times the same thing. If they don't understand, it's because that's on me, because I haven't explained it properly. So I will go through things as slowly as necessary. If they don't understand, I'll find another way to explain it to them. And, and we just keep going until they do get it.
All right. Speaking of stupid questions.
Yes.
If you could eat one meat for the rest of your life, forsaking all others, what meat or animal are you choosing?
Oh, that's such a tough question. I mean, what I'll say is bacon. And the reason being, I was vegetarian for quite a while when I was young. And when I went into hospitality and worked at this particular restaurant, the smell of bacon was the thing that started me eating meat again.
Was it your downfall?
Yeah,
bacon was your downfall.
Yeah, I think so. But
how long were you veggie before?
How long? Oh, probably about 3 or 4 years as kind of a teenager, and then I worked at the restaurant for a couple of years, and then eventually I just couldn't cope with it anymore. But actually, I quite like.
That's fair enough.
I love animals. See, I find it really difficult, but I like meat. Like a bit.
Okay. let's switch it up. So it's less difficult. Same question, but
Yes.
What vegetable are you choosing? Like the rest of your life,
Veg.
again, forsaking all others.
It's going to
Yeah.
be peas. It's always peas, isn't it? We have
Peas.
peas with everything. You can do biscuits.
Peas.
I can do biscuits. I bet you could probably guess if you've read enough of my social media.
What biscuit you choose?
Yeah. Yeah. What would you choose?
What biscuit I'd eat for the rest of my life?
Yeah. If you had to eat one forever, and that was it.
And not have any other biscuits.
Well, you can have others. No, no other biscuits. That's the only biscuit. God, it's the easy choice. Come on.
Viennese whirl.
Oh, what is wrong with you? Chocolate
They're
hobnob.
fancy.
Chocolate hobnob,
They're
Dale.
fancy. They're fancy. They feel
So
decadent.
I'm the chair of the Gloucestershire AAT branch, and I take chocolate hobnobs now, and I just lure people in with the chocolate hobnobs. Come to the meeting, I've got chocolate hobnobs. In fact, we have got a meeting on the 28th with Rebecca Williams is going to come and talk to us about how to survive an AML inspection and live to tell the tale, which was my title, because that's how it feels. And I've promised that if I get 30 people sign up, I'm bringing cake. So
Okay, sounds cool.
Yeah.
And
bribery.
again, AML, anti money laundering for people who don't
Yes,
know.
yeah. Sorry, yeah.
That's all right. No worries. Okay, the next question for you. It's a
Yes.
very, very, very important one. Your title or your business name is the Ethical Bookkeeper. Why the name, and what does an ethical bookkeeper? What does that mean?
Well, it was very much a conscious branding decision. So my original business was called Stressless Bookkeeping Services, and it didn't feel quite right for me. It didn't feel like it was me. It didn't mean enough. And although the bookkeeping was supposed to be stressless for clients, it was a bit stressful for me. So I went to see somebody to have a website designed, and we had a long chat about it. And I'd got some ideas, and I'd come up with the Ethical Bookkeeper. And he said, what about the Friendly Bookkeeper? And I said, I'm not sure that that's going to get the clients that I want to attract. So he said, don't you think that with a title like the Ethical Bookkeeper, you might potentially put some people off? And I said, those are probably the people that I don't want anyway. I'd quite like to put them off. And it's served as an invisible force field to keep out bad clients. So that in itself, and I've heard all horror stories. I'm always out there on social media. I've heard what other people have had to put up with from some really, really bad clients, and I just don't want to go down that route. And thankfully, I have largely managed to avoid those sort of people. But
what makes a bad client? What makes a bad client?
Oh my goodness. Well, there's so many different things. I mean, I know of people that have had clients turn up at their door threatening them. That's kind of the worst things that can happen. But there are people that just want, incredibly demanding, but want to pay next to nothing. Those are some of the bad ones. The people that argue with you about what is a tax deductible expense and what isn't. They've spoken to Dave down the pub, and all sorts of horror stories. And I really don't want to be working with people like that. And thankfully, we've got some fantastic clients now that really value me and really appreciate me. And it makes it so much nicer if you get the right clients. It's better for both of you, really. You're desperate to support each other and see your businesses succeed. So that side of things has worked quite well. But then it's also about sustainability, doing my bit for the planet. I know I can't do everything. I know I'm not perfect. I know there is a ton more for me to learn, but I'm talking about it. I talk to clients about it. I talk to suppliers about it. I talk to my community of bookkeepers and accountants about it. And it's really spreading the word and just getting people to just be more conscious of what's happening, and getting people to connect, really. So when I was at Accountex in Manchester couple of months ago, Caroline Hobden introduced me to Jim from CIMA, who I absolutely adore. We had the weirdest connection as well. We were talking about, because I'm an Essex girl, used to live in a little village called Takeley, and it's quite near to Stansted Airport. And Jim was talking to me about working near Stansted Airport. And so we got chatting about that. It turns out he used to live in a house at the end of my road. How spooky is that?
Oh, wow.
Small world. Yeah, not when I was
very small world moment.
Because he'd probably have beaten me up or something. But, you know, and then...
wait, what? What?
Well, you know, you know what boys are like. You know?
That's a while.
So he'd probably been mates with my brother.
Poor Jim.
So I got talking to Jim. I planted some trees with CIMA. I've spread the word. I also introduced them to another company called Moneypenny, because
I have a question. What is CIMA, by the way? What do they do?
They plant trees, and they are using veterans as well. So people that are coming out of the forces, they you know, they're getting them back into employment as well. Check it out. It's CIMA, CARMA. Caroline's planting trees with them as well. So everybody that turns up at Accountex gets a tree planted on their behalf.
Nice.
And you know, if Caroline thinks they're great, that's good enough for me as well. So it's very much it's just raising more awareness and talking about it and getting the subject out there all the time. I am signed up to go to a net zero event in a couple of weeks' time as well. So, you know, I'm always learning. I think we can all do more, but I just think we need to talk about it more. So that also comes under the ethical branding. And then it's about looking after your clients, treating them the way that they want to be treated. Looking after my suppliers as well, you know, paying people on time. And at the point that I want to take on staff, you know, I want to also do my best for them, make sure that, you know, they have the best working conditions, to make sure that they are paid a really decent wage, and just to look after.
Sorry, did you just say you're at the point where
well,
you're taking on staff?
I potentially it's coming.
Congratulations. That's a massive milestone. That's amazing.
Well, yeah,
well done.
It is. But not quite there yet, but almost. But you know, the plan is that I want people to be looked after, and I want to do the right thing. Getting the right people on board is crucial. You look at somebody like Rachel Harris and the way, you know, the way she works with their staff, the transparency of her salary structure, knowing it's amazing. You know exactly what you need to do to reach the next level. There's all the support in place that you need. You know what you're going to be earning. There's no, don't talk about how much you're getting paid. Well, the reason you're not allowed to talk about what you're getting paid is because it's not fair. That's why companies say that, right? So I don't want to be that. Go and argue with Dale, it's fine. I don't mind.
No. I'm not going to argue with you, because I think I somewhat agree, but I like to play devil's advocate on these things. So you're right. I think sometimes when companies don't release their salaries, it's because it can appear to be unfair.
Yeah.
But I think also there's complexities, especially in larger organizations, where, you know, salary structures have changed over years, and having to explain or justify why those salaries are the way they are, that can be difficult. So it's easier just not to talk about it as opposed to revealing it. So I don't think sometimes the salaries are unfair, but there's different merits that go into that, as to why someone at a certain level or grade, or what you want to call it, gets paid a certain amount. Yeah. And sometimes they get paid more for things that people can't see, that are intangible. And that's why sometimes it's hard to have that conversation. Yeah.
Very good point,
but
Dale.
No, I agree with you.
But yeah, I'm very.
I agree with you. Transparency is the best way forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd much rather say that.
Can we change gears a little bit?
Yeah.
Just a smidge, like real quick. Like, apart from being a badass finance guru and owning your own business and knowing everybody in the UK accounting space, you like to act for fun, like you're a thespian. Is that correct?
Yes, I do.
Have you always had that as a passion or a hobby from when you were younger, or did you decide to do it when you were like? Where did it come from?
So I took piano lessons when I was oh God, how old was I? It wasn't really young. It was probably from about the age of 9 or something. And then very quickly, one of the school teachers had me playing in assembly. I Love the Sun, When a Knight Won His Spurs.
Oh, no, that is an absolute banger. Anyone of a certain age has sung that song. When a knight won his spurs and the stories of... It's a great song.
Yeah,
sorry,
just taking me back there. No, do it. And then I had a
back when the song lyrics were on an overhead projector, like that transparent sheet of paper thing. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Like, that old. Young people today will never know the struggle of having the OHP and trying to get it like lined up in the light box underneath it and all that.
I mean, I think they still work like that. Put the book on there and flatten it out so it comes up on the board. And then one of my teachers was quite into drama, and I think he spotted something in me and tried to encourage me, and I was quite reluctant at that point to do anything. And then apparently, according to my mother, I got the part of Joseph in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat in the kids version of it. And then about a week later, the school decided that it should go to a boy, not a girl, so they took that away from me. So I had one of the other brothers like that. I know, shocking. Thankfully, it hasn't scarred me for life. So I did a little bit. And then when I was at secondary school, I was in what would have been the third year, but is now classed as year 9, I think. We were, was it? No, maybe the next year, fourth year. Yeah, maybe fourth year, year 10. They were doing a production of Oklahoma, and if we were interested in being in it, we went to the music room one lunchtime, and we were asked to sing a line from Many a New Day as they went around the room. And then a couple of days later, the cast list came out, and they'd given me Ado Annie, which was one of the leads. So I'm still not sure how that happened, but there we go. I had to practice my Persian goodbyes and Oklahoma hellos, which, if you don't know the film, is a bit of, snogging from a couple of blokes. And yeah, so I was in that, and then I did the Crucible the year after, and Guys and Dolls for the first time the year after that, which I've now been in that one 5 times. And then when I was working in,
do you prefer musicals, or do you prefer straight shows?
Musicals, definitely.
Musicals. Okay. What's your favorite musical?
Oh, it's so difficult. So to see or to be, or one that I've been in, because there's 2 very different answers.
To see, to watch.
Right, to see right now, Operation Mincemeat is in the West End. It's just been extended again. There's 5 people in it. It is incredible. I'm obsessed. So if you can go,
and it's a musical.
Yeah. It's based.
What's the premise?
Oh God! Right. So it's complicated. It was, and I don't really want to go in. I'm not really a history person, but Second World War. Assuming that Operation Mincemeat, the musical, is factual, which I can't guarantee it is, but I think it is loosely based around a real story. Dead body was sent to, oh God, hang on, I'm going to have to sing the song, otherwise I can't remember where it was. Sicily or Sardinia, whichever one it was. All the Germans were in either Sicily or Sardinia. They sent out a body to the other one to get the Germans to all move that way. Basically, they'd got, I'm talking nonsense now, aren't I? He'd got a briefcase attached to him. It had got all of these notes about an invasion. They wanted it to get back to the Germans. So the Germans decided to all move their troops, and we went into the other one. I don't know. There you go. Anyway.
So it's kind of like a World War II themed espionage.
It's
intelligence.
I mean, the stories, you'll laugh, you'll cry. It's brilliant. The 5 people are so talented. There was one costume change. I've seen it twice now. There's a costume change that was so fast. I literally went, "What? How did that happen?" Amazing. If you want to know what to be in, I think my favourite would be Hello Dolly. I played Dolly in 2012, maybe. That was probably my favourite, but I've also done Eliza in Half a Sixpence. I've done Eliza in My Fair Lady, Anne in Half a Sixpence. Yeah, loads of parts. But I've gone more into plays now because I'm getting old and I can't get the leads anymore. So I was on stage last week in a farce of A Christmas Carol, playing 6 different characters. Mrs. Reese is the actual person. She's the chair lady of the society. And then I played Tiny Tim, The Ghost of Christmas to Come, Mrs. Dilber, Fred's Wife, A Gentleman. It's nuts.
How do you remember all those lines and
I
character types? 'Cause that sounds really difficult.
It was really, really hard. And I had to there was audience participation as well, which meant I had to go full on Mrs. Reese and answer back and tell them to shush at times as well. It was the funniest thing. It was brilliant. And it feels like I've run a marathon every night. So quite exhausting.
Sounds intense.
But brilliant.
Bringing it back to work, okay. What is the funniest, weirdest, almost confusing thing a client has tried to put through their books or mistakenly put through their books that comes to correction?
We had an inflatable canoe a couple of months ago through Amazon, which reminds me of a post I did a couple of years ago, which was about
no, I'm glad you said canoe. That could have been something else.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, look at my posts, right? So I said my post was, you won't be needing the receipt for that, right? And then it says wrong, you can buy anything on Amazon. And then in the picture, I'd got a picture of an inflatable man. So I've kind of been waiting. It's not a rude one. It's just a stupid one. So that's quite up there. I've been quite lucky, I think, so far. I haven't had anything, too bad. Sometimes it's by mistake where people have put, paid for something on the business card instead of the personal card. So, quite often it's a source of amusement, but
yeah, the Ann Summers order that goes through the business card by mistake. Yeah, it's got
like
line items on it and everything. You can see exactly what they bought.
It's like looking in someone's underwear drawer, definitely, and that is why it's all about the people. So it's so important that if you're going to work with somebody, that you find someone that you trust and you really get on with, I think, because it's so much better to have those difficult questions. So difficult conversations. I've been working with a client for a few months now who, to put it very nicely, is not very good with admin and stuff. And I met his wife and his son yesterday, and I actually made her cry. So
tears of joy, I assume. I'm going to say tears of joy.
Yeah, kind of. It was this sense of. She said to me, "I am so glad he found you," and that you could see the relief of having somebody on board. And we've still got some mess to sort out. He's not the best person with paperwork. And I said, look, you've got a sound business here. He is a good businessman and he's good at sales and he's good at what he does. But let's be honest, he's crap at admin, right? So outsource it, whether that's to me, whether it's to somebody else. I don't mind. They do want to, they do want to get me to do it. But for goodness sake, work out what you're good at, do that bit, because if he ups the sales for the business, he's going to make back twice as much money as it's going to cost for me to do that work for him. So, it's finding those people, but you could see, and I just gave her a hug afterwards and it was so nice. I feel so good that I'm able to support people. And that is why I do the job that I do. It's that love that no matter how bad he is with the receipts and you say, oh, for God's sake, that's not a receipt. That's a credit card slip. So it doesn't show me what you bought. No matter how many times I get frustrated and bang my head on the desk, it's those bits when you really know that you're appreciated so much that's what keeps me doing what I'm doing. And that's the bit that I really love.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
The reason why I am pondering is I'm like, do we just end it on that? That's a fantastic statement. That's like that's lovely.
It is nice, isn't it? Although you could end it on the Dogtanian theme music for the lovely Caroline Hobden, couldn't you? You could have just put that in for the end of your show.
I mean, if you want to hum it, then go for it. I don't know the theme tune. I'm not gonna lie.
No, and nobody's going to know what we're talking about now either, Dale. Do you want to talk about it or do you want me to?
Please explain.
So I was having a little watch of your interview with lovely Caroline, who I love her to bits. She's gorgeous. And you were discussing Dogtanian and the Three Musker Hounds, and which led me into a huge rabbit warren of Googling it. And I found a clip from 1982 when I would have been 10 years old. and because I could remember as soon as she said it, I could remember the theme tune, and I could remember this kind of woofing in the background. So I ended up watching a bit of instead of doing the bookkeeping, I was watching D'Artagnan and showing it to my T-level student and saying, look, that's what she's talking about. So we have the weirdest conversations. And I think, there are times when doing this as a job, it's not the most fun job. It's not the most exciting job. It can be tedious. It can be stressful. It can be hard work. And I just look for every bit of humor. I entertain myself all the time. I look for the fun bits. I try to make it more interesting. Plus, I have the best hobby. So, doing the shows as well, you couldn't get much, further away from bookkeeping and accountancy than appearing on stage and singing and dancing and wearing wigs, could you? So,
you're right, because there's a stereotype of bookkeepers and accountants being quite introvert, right? Yeah. So, like, being on stage is like, I know there are introverts who do act and that kind of stuff, but most people consider it quite an extrovert activity. So, yeah. So
and when I was teaching, I used to tell, in fact, lesson 1 was normally just getting to know the students a bit and finding out what they do in their spare time. And the one thing I said to them all, I can still remember it, was, if you're going to be an accountant, have an interesting hobby.
That's fair enough. That's a good one. You know what? We're going to leave it on there. You've dropped some absolute nuggets of wisdom and knowledge. Thank you for that. Accruals, all that kind of stuff. Those things are really hard to explain. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for sharing your energy with me and people who are watching. Appreciate it. Like, it's fun talking to you always. So yeah, I'm going to hit end stream. It takes like 3 seconds to like cut off. So please keep smiling. Otherwise you get stuck like that.
Smile all the time.